So assignment 3 is on page 95 of the student guide, and it's a synthesis assignment. Synthesis. What that means is that we want you to be able to read a group of texts that are addressing the same issue or topic and understand the similarities between those texts. So, what does a group of texts have in common? What point are these different articles making that, the other ones make? But then also noting the differences between the articles. So does one article, for example, make a contribution to a conversation, to raise a point that other articles don't raise? So noting those similarities and differences is basically the main moves of synthesis that I want you to work on this assignment. So I've given you 4 digital sources of different sorts. Some are more scholarly articles, some are more blog type posts. And I'm asking you to do some of that work that you did in the second assignment in terms of identify the ethos of the author. So we'll talk more about this in class, but I want you to identify who the author is by, say, Googling around and trying to figure out who they are, both institutionally, professionally, how widely are they published, what is their area of profession. So try and figure out the ethos of these different authors. And then also I want you to identify the particular format of these articles. Are these journal articles? Are they blog posts? They're all digital, but what exactly is the genre of each of these different pieces? So I want you to do that sort of initial reading, that noting of the similarities and differences of the articles, and then doing some of that sort of snooping around about the ethos of the author, digital detective work. And then I want you to think about your own understanding of the topic and your own interpretation of the material that you've read. And that's where your thesis comes. So after doing all that work, I want you to sit down and sort of process the different points that are being raised by these articles and to understand your own contribution. Now, in the first assignment, a lot of you asked, is it okay to use I to make a point? And I said, yeah, it's okay to use I to make a point. However, there's different degrees of using your own personal experience to argue. And in this paper in particular, as we're getting towards the end of the course, I want you to start getting into the habit of finding research that supports your own individual experience. So, for example, in the Balarin article, in the assignment, the first assignment, the reputation or noting the similarities and differences of your own position and Balarin's position. A lot of you said Balarin does not understand youth and communication because he's arguing that students don't understand body language anymore because of digital communications. And a lot of you went to your own personal experience and said, that's not true. I'm using webcams and things like that to communicate on a regular basis, and body language is an important part of that. The same way in this video, I'm using my hands to make gestures and things like that. So that was a direct refutation of Balarin. It was great. It showed that Balarin was not really aware of the subject matter that he was talking about. Now, going a step further from that, I want you to find a source that would enforce your own personal experience. So, for example, with the Balarin example, you could find sources to talk about the prevalence of webcams in youth communication, and that would be useful for making that point that you argue even stronger. Okay, so that's basically what I want you to work on right now. I want you to work on understanding the ethos of the articles that I give you, the similarities and differences of the articles. You might want to take notes in terms of summarizing those similarities and differences. Then work on your own interpretation of the subject matter, and then try to find one additional source that supports your interpretation of the subject matter. Okay, and you could use, say, the reference librarians as a resource to find help. When Barb talked to the class 3 weeks ago, she mentioned that students rarely go in first year comp and ask reference librarians for help. And this might be a really great assignment for you to do that. So I will always be around, available office hours by appointment. We're going to have some time to do peer review in the next month of this assignment, and I look forward to working with you.